I have some praying to do, because I've converted to Muslim now, converted to Islam.
You're not actually Muslim.
When I'm in Dubai, I'm happy to be Muslim, and when I'm in Romania, I'm happy to be Christian.
Andrew Tate converted to Islam while under criminal investigation in Romania.
Andrew Tate converted to Islam primarily for marketing and for connections.
To question another person's faith, it's a disgusting thing to do.
Some Muslims have welcomed him, but others struggle to trust his motives when he faces charges of human trafficking and rape, which he denies.
People have this concern of Andrew Tate, like reputation washing by reverting to Islam.
The standards for Andrew Tate are so much higher than new converts at any time in human history, and I think that's unfair.
Tate says his worldview fits perfectly with Islam, the fastest growing religion in the world.
It was inevitable that he would find Islam.
Reaching a new audience of Islamic faith viewers.
Religion is a sensitive subject, and Muslims believe it's a sin to question why someone converts, because when you become a Muslim, your past sins are forgiven.
He literally has members of the Taliban supporting him online.
As the case in Romania nears trial, Andrew Tate wants to clear his name.
Everybody knows I'm innocent, and it's fine.
Is it all for show? Is he genuine about his beliefs?
So religious people are hypocrites or psychopaths. That's the only two choices. There is no other option.
How do you tell faith from fraud?
God comes along and says, yes, I've allowed you to become the top G. We're gonna see if you really are the top G.
You guys are the same place, yeah? Yeah. Alhamdulillah. They came to the dawah table today. My brother, my G, Andrew Tate fan. Did you take a shahada today, brother? I take a shahada. MashaAllah, my brother. He's our brother. Inshallah, Andrew Tate, our brother as well, inshallah. And we know he's innocent, inshallah.
I've spent more time around Andrew than anyone else outside of his close family over the last 5 years. I know the truth, I've been there. I'm not objective, there's no doubt, I'm strongly Team Tate.
This is Jules Sullivan. He calls himself the sartorial shooter, and he's one of the leaders of Tate's War Room, his elite members club that has an $8,000 joining fee.
Islam gives you the clearest guidance on how to live your life.
Like Tate, Shooter has recently converted to Islam.
So Tate, as a truth seeker, you know, at one point he was atheist, at one point he was orthodox. It was inevitable that he would find Islam.
Okay, we need to rewind here because Andrew Tate's relationship with religion is complicated. First, he was an atheist.
God isn't real. There's no evidence for God. There's no proof for God.
Over several years, Tate pushed Islamophobic stereotypes.
ISIS are the real Muslims because ISIS do exactly what the book says.
I'm a Muslim, and I hope you men at home are Muslim too. I'm gonna find myself a nice Islamic-ass wife. I'm gonna build up a big pile of rocks in case she gets fresh.
But in October 2020, Tate said he found God.
The atheists are propagating insanity. Like, you know, this gender fluid, crazy. I've decided I no longer want to be an atheist. I'm gonna start believing in God.
For 2 years, Tate was part of the Romanian Orthodox Church.
I donate $20,000 a month to the church in the country I live in. The church in Romania is very powerful, and I like having church friends. So I give them a lot of money, right? So I would guess I'm an Orthodox Christian.
In the very same interview, Tate now spoke positively about Islam.
If you have a problem with your wife not obeying you, Islam will fix it. Islam fixes a lot of the problems that men are currently facing.
And for some Muslims, it hit home.
He's hit the nail on the head. Oh yeah. So many times in that video.
He's got a strong belief in Islam as well, mate.
I hope Allah, guides him.
Guides him, yeah.
Andrew Tate can become the Muslim Andrew Tate himself.
He does, but there's a lot of things that he needs to tweak.
Then in August 2022, Tate was banned from all social media after huge anger over his sexist comments.
I have a problem with long format things I've said being taken out of context and makes it look like I'm saying things I did not say or I mean things I did not mean.
Then on October 24th, after months defending himself, this video dropped. It blew up on socials despite the ban, especially among Muslim influencers.
Welcome back, bro. May Allah bless you.
But the very same week Tate converted, he said this in a now deleted podcast clip.
When I'm in Dubai, I'm happy to be Muslim, and when I'm in Romania, I'm happy to be Christian. I just respect the idea of God.
In the following months, Tate embraced Islam.
Islam very closely reflects my personal beliefs. I'm new to it. I'm certainly not a scholar. I'm here to learn. Yeah. But
and we're here at your assistance.
Thank you, bro.
But not everyone was convinced.
For someone who becomes Muslim is a very beautiful thing, no matter who they are. It's just about the lack of scrutiny and the public accountability, some of the past things that he's done.
He even apologized for previous comments.
That is something I will apologize for and admit I was wrong about because I was atheistic, and now as a Muslim I understand that's absolutely not the case.
Then in December 2022, after a year under investigation, Tate was arrested by Romanian authorities on allegations of human trafficking and rape, which he denies.
Anyone who judges him, they don't know the real Tate. They're making false assumptions based on what they see on the internet.
Since his arrest, Tate's been making a big deal about his new faith, Islam. And in April, shortly after being released under house arrest, Tate started publicising his donations to charity.
They've done a lot of charity. Now they've decided to go loud. One part of that is because the fact that, you know, it's his duty as a Muslim, but also he's under assault from so many different directions about how much of a bad guy he is, when the reality is quite different.
Shooter claims that Tate's been giving to charity for years, so we asked him for evidence of Tate's charity work before he entered house arrest in April.
I don't know if they'll want to speak to you, brother, because you're questioning their faith, and that's a pretty disgusting thing to do if we're going to be completely honest with each other as men. So,
given the conversations that are being had about Tate, these questions are going to be asked by Muslims and non-Muslims.
The Muslims who are asking it, it's actually a haram act to question another person's faith. It's a disgusting thing to do, and it is textbook haram. He read the Quran back to front numerous times. He didn't have much else to do in jail. I said, why don't you make such videos to show that your faith is sincere? He said, no, then it wouldn't be sincere. You will never see videos of him trying to show off his faith.
The charity work, for instance, now being publicised.
No, that's him showing that he does charity and finally going loud with it.
But we spoke to the charities we could find linked to Tate. More on that later. Before he converted, some Muslim influencers supported some of Tate's views and invited his conversion to Islam.
No, I don't shake hands with women for religious reasons. Yeah, for religious reasons.
In that case, I don't think I can speak to you anymore.
Like this guy, Mohammed Hijab, an Oxford graduate who calls himself a traditionalist, but is seen as a controversial figure because of his Islamist preaching.
That's liberal intolerance, and I'm very happy it was on camera. Walk away. It's feministic intolerance. Islam is trending now as a result of it. But Andrew Tate, he's got an online persona. He has his own comedic character. It gets a bit fuzzy when people don't realise this is when he's doing theatrics and this is when he's speaking strictly about his views. For the most part, what he believes about family is what the majority of people believe about the family.
This is key. Hijab and others agreed with Tate's views on sexuality, gender and masculinity before he'd taken his Shahada.
Islam very closely reflects my personal beliefs.
But some Muslims aren't so sure about Tate's intentions. Yusra Samir is a writer who spoke out against Tate's influence on young Muslim men, and Sean is an influencer who recently converted to Islam.
If he becomes like this face of like Islam and masculinity, whether that will then reaffirm to Islamophobes their stereotype and their sort of misconception of Islam being this religion that endorses violence towards women.
Our religion obviously doesn't teach you to treat anyone differently based on their gender. Still within a lot of Islamic cultures, there's a lot of misogyny just deeply embedded and ingrained.
People have this concern of Andrew Tate like reputation washing by reverting to Islam.
He's not an Islamic scholar. We can allow him some growth, and we can allow everyone makes mistakes.
The standards for Andrew Tate are so much higher than new converts at any time in human history, and I think that's unfair.
Even if he wasn't Muslim and you're publicising all your sort of donations to charity just to prove a point about how great of a person you are, I think that's just so problematic. Like I actually wasn't born yesterday.
Andrew Tate's conversion took place in Dubai. It's where his private members club, the War Room, meets, and we've seen documents that show he's moved his business interests there. We've spoken to a War Room whistleblower who says there's more to Tate's conversion than meets the eye.
My name is EliXAnpa. I am a Duke dropout and former head of sales and marketing at CobraTate.
Eli worked for Andrew Tate for 2 years, selling access to his online courses. At one point, Eli was working for Tate from Dubai.
He's not actually Muslim. He's Muslim just because he's in Dubai, because he wants to be friends with all the sheikhs and stuff. All of a sudden, he started doing business with sheikhs. All of a sudden, he's Muslim. It's not real. Can I corroborate this? No. How did I find out? Sitting at a table in Dubai with him is when he told us. I asked him, are you actually Muslim? He said, well, kind of, not really. I'm just kind of doing it because I'm in the United Arab Emirates and it's good for public perception.
When was this conversation?
Back in December 2022.
What has the decision to set up businesses in Dubai got to do with Islam? It's very clear that Dubai is one of the most business-friendly cities in the world. I think that's I don't see any logic in that line of reasoning at all.
But Eli says that by converting to Islam, Tate found a new audience.
Andrew Tate converted to Islam primarily for marketing and for connections. Marketing in terms of seeming more righteous and reaching a new audience of Islamic faith viewers, and for connections because he is more in contact with the Emirati government and stuff like that, so he's doing more business. I can't tell you the exact details, but it's just stuff that I overhear.
Eli claims that Tate increased his messaging around Islam as part of a wider change in marketing tactics after being arrested in Romania.
We'd also introduced some other aspects that were slightly more wholesome, such as him with his brother's daughter. right? Him helping the charity.
So, we spoke to 3 UK-based Islamic charities who Andrew Tate says he's donated to, but all the charities told TNM that they've never received a donation directly from Andrew or Tristan Tate. And 2 of the charities have asked for the content to be removed from his website over concerns it would damage their reputation. Do you think that the kind of messaging around becoming a Muslim is like a way of him washing his reputation, for instance?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tate's conversion coincides with a broader trend. Far-right influencers who once targeted Muslims as the enemy now praise Islam for what they see as its traditional family-centered values and anti-LGBT views, and intolerance of what they call liberal movements in gender and sexuality.
And I grew up in Luton, which is a town which is mainly Muslims. And there was a bunch of English people who were complaining about there's too much immigration, we're losing our culture, and I understood their point absolutely. But these are the same people complaining about all the left-wing LGBT in schools and all these issues. And I was like, the only allies you have against this are the Muslims.
Those individuals who don't like Andrew Tate despise us even more, us as Muslim community, the traditionalists, they despise us even more because we go further than Andrew Tate in certain things. On the record, we say things Andrew Tate has never said before about homosexuality.
Take Tommy Robinson, former leader of the English Defence League and one of Britain's most infamous far-right Islamophobes.
So there are some good points of Islam, yeah, that's not going to be letting them teach their little boy that he can become a girl at the age of 6.
Robinson and Tate both grew up in Luton and have been friends for years.
Went to Dubai. I haven't been. Tate was telling me to come, but I haven't been. Since.
Wait, Tate still talks to you after what you say about Islam and
convert. Admit you were wrong, bruv. Teach the importance of Islam to resist the LGBT bull. Be rich as with 4 wives in burqas and drive a Lambo, inshallah.
He'd been spending time in Dubai for 5 years. He has found a religion which completely agrees with his values in terms of the fact that Satan is trying to damage humanity. Why would anyone be confused as to why he reverted?
Tate is especially popular with young Muslim men who've adopted the Red Pill movement. The Red Pill spreads sexism and conspiracy theories about masculinity under threat by feminism and a wider plot, which they call the Matrix.
People like Andrew Tate, these online movements like the Red Pill movement, incel movement, prey on young men and sort of their vulnerabilities. They take a very literalistic interpretation of any Quranic verse or hadith or prophetic saying about gender relations because it suits them, because it gives men the upper hand.
That's where Islamophobes and extremist Muslims come together. The fact that they think you can do all these things to women is definitely harmful and problematic.
Debates about gender roles and relationships that are taking place in wider society are also being discussed by Muslims. Hijab, Sean and Yusra all believe that the family is an important Islamic institution, but they disagree in the details of what it should look like.
You'll find a fringe minority of Muslim people had been, for example, concerned about the conversion of Malcolm X at his time. You'd be surprised to find that even this is the case with Muhammad Ali. No one remembers those voices, but we all remember the conversions and the subsequent legacies that these people have left. And I do think that Andrew Tate is following the same kind of footsteps.
I don't remember Muhammad Ali or Malcolm X telling me a course. I don't remember them telling me that women shouldn't work. And I certainly don't think the Taliban would have liked Muhammad Ali or Malcolm X back in the day. So.
His supporters, whether they're from the far-right, Red Pill or traditional Muslim communities, think Tate is being persecuted for telling the truth. But his critics see a con man who will say anything for his own gain. Islam is now central to Andrew Tate's public persona.
I like to believe that God comes along and says, yes, I've allowed you to become the top G. We're going to see if you really are the top G. I believe that's how the world works.
For his Muslim fans, Tate's past and the criminal allegations he faces in Romania became irrelevant, if they weren't already, once he converted. Any past sins were wiped clean.
We have loyalty to one another. We'll not throw each other under the bus.
Tate's defenders from the Red Pill, far-right or traditional Muslim communities have all found common ground in protesting against liberal views on gender equality and LGBT rights.
We're getting these reinventions of the wheel when it comes to transgenders, gender rights. These are rogue ideas.
And it's partly this pushback against so-called woke movements that's made Tate so popular. But some Muslims, even if they agree with some things Tate has said, don't feel comfortable with the far right or the red pill, nor with the allegations of human trafficking and sexual assault he faces.
You don't know what his niyyah is, his intention in his heart.
When Andrew Tate wants to clear his name, they question his appeal to a huge new audience, the fastest growing religion in the world. But that questioning of his intentions is itself controversial, because Muslims say it's a sin.
It's only Allah who can judge. But at the same time, we can be critical in the sense that actions speak louder than words.
It's true that in many Muslim societies around the globe, conversations around sexuality and gender look very different to Western societies. Despite that, it's clear that not all Muslims believe in an Islam that shares Tate's opinions on masculinity, gender roles and relationships. And with Tate's war room and business interests in Dubai, the place where he converted, a doubtful eye has been cast on his motives.
They see how much positive traction they've got, Tate gotten from becoming a Muslim, what new audiences they could reach.
Who knows what kind of like internal change he might have gone through.
And if Andrew Tate's newfound faith is fraud, then he's made a cynical play to profit from the hearts and minds of millions of young men through their most intimate beliefs, their religion.